Hello, fellow wanderers in search of the perfect escape. Welcome to the world of travel vacations, where we'll whisk you away to the most idyllic destinations and guide you through crafting unforgettable vacation experiences. I'm Norman Schaefer, your go-to vacation guru, and together we'll explore dreamy beaches, vibrant cities, and everything in between. So get ready to pack your bags and join me on this incredible journey. Welcome to today's episode, where we're going to uncover everything you need to know about island hopping in the South Pacific. We're going to guide you through the best flight routes, ideal travel times, seasonal weather tips, and the most exciting festivals that you can experience across multiple islands. Plus, I'm going to share a few insider knowledge tips on local customs to ensure a respectful and immersive adventure. So whether you're craving the lagoons of French Polynesia or the rainforests of Samoa, this episode, we're going to cover really three main sections. And we'll first of all start with an overview of the South Pacific island regions. And this is going to include Fiji, French Polynesia, the Cook Islands, Samoa, Tonga, Vanuatu, and the Solomon Islands. Then we're going to go over choosing the right islands for your trip, and this will include tips on selecting islands based on your interests, such as adventure activities or diving, hiking, relaxation, such as the beaches and spas, or culture. You can go to traditional villages and experience or buy local handicrafts. Then we'll talk a bit about creating a realistic itinerary. And there's many strategies for determining how many islands to visit, and distance is one, flight availability is a really big one, and it really comes down to the amount of time that you have. I have helped people plan multiple itineraries throughout the South Pacific, and itineraries that cover up to 20 or even 25 islands. And it can get fairly complex, but it really depends on flight availability and the amount of time that you have. So some of the best islands or best airlines for island hopping, these are important airlines to know about because each airline covers different areas. Fiji Airways, for example, it's got its hub in Nadi, Fiji, and they connect to other islands such as Tonga, Samoa, Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, Wallis, and so many more. And so they're a really good hub for especially the western South Pacific islands. Air Tahiti Nui is an international airline that highlights and brings people to French Polynesia. And then there's the regional airline Air Tahiti that also operates flights to over 20 different islands within French Polynesia. And there's also an opportunity with Air Tahiti to do an air pass, which lets you visit multiple islands within French Polynesia. I should mention, too, they do have flights now as well to the Cook Islands. Air New Zealand offers flights from Auckland to various South Pacific destinations, including Rarotonga in the Cook Islands, Nadi, Fiji, and Apia, Samoa. But if you're traveling with Air New Zealand, you will have to travel back to New Zealand in order to connect to another island within the South Pacific. They are a great option, however, to fly into one island of the South Pacific and back from another, and then we can do little island hoppers between the islands with another airline. Virgin Australia provides service between Australia and the South Pacific Islands like Fiji, Samoa, and Vanuatu. And then Solomon Airlines, they operate flights within the Solomon Islands and to neighboring countries like Fiji and Vanuatu. And I've had a chance to book people and book trips with Solomon Airlines, especially kind of from there to Fiji. Samoa Airways is a regional carrier, and they really just do flights between Samoa, American Samoa, but then they also have some flights over to Tonga, which make for a great connection and opportunity to see another culture. Air Caline is another one, French airline, and they are also known as Air Caledonie, and they operate flights between New Caledonia and destinations like Fiji, Vanuatu, Wallis, and now they've finally operated or are operating flights over to Tahiti. So first time the Western South Pacific and the Eastern South Pacific are connecting with an option that doesn't involve going to the United States or to New Zealand to connect between the Western and Eastern South Pacific Islands. So with all of these flights, we have opportunities to do flights between these different islands, but then you can also mix it up with ferry rides or private charters, depending on what the availability is. There have been many different opportunities to visit so many different islands, and connecting multiple airlines in the South Pacific now makes it possible to visit so many different cultures within one trip. So what's the best time to visit? I often ask this, and I'll just kind of give you the basics. Of course, it's going to depend on the specific area that you're going to, but high season is May to October in general, and it's best for dry weather, cooler temperatures, and calmer seas. And this is ideal for most islands, including Fiji, French Polynesia, the Cook Islands, Samoa, and Vanuatu. The low season is November to April, and this is when it's warmer and more humid with higher chances of rain and occasional cyclones. And this season also means fewer crowds and lower prices. And to be honest, it's the time that I usually travel to the South Pacific. The general wet and dry seasons are May to October, with temperatures ranging from 24 to 30 Celsius or 75 to 86 Fahrenheit. And the wet season is November to April, with temperatures ranging from 26 to 32 Celsius, which is 79 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see, there's really not much of a difference in the temperature. With rainfall, it can vary a fair amount, but a lot of times when it's rainy in these South Pacific Islands, you'll see a rain cloud, it'll come by, it'll dump, and then it just moves on. Other times you'll get a full day or two or three of rain, but the temperatures are so warm that you dry off very quickly when the rain stops. Now, there's some specific weather patterns to be aware of, and for Fiji and Samoa, the best weather is from May to October, except it's hotter and wetter conditions from November to April. And French Polynesia and the Cook Islands, their dry seasons from April to October with pleasant temperatures, and their wet seasons from November to March. Vanuatu and the Solomon Islands, it's cooler and drier from May to September, warmer, wetter season from December to March. Now, I do want to just touch on some popular festivals to plan around in French Polynesia. In all of these islands. So let's start with French Polynesia. The Heva Tahiti Festival is always held in July, and this is a celebration of traditional Polynesian dance, music, and sports. It's a huge celebration, and for weeks before, in the various islands, they're practicing for this festival and for this competition. And so in June, if you're visiting the various islands, you may see or hear the locals practicing their traditional dance. And then in July, in the capital city of Papeete, that's where they actually hold the competition. Now, in Fiji, there's the Hibiscus Festival, and this is in August, and it's Suva's biggest annual event, and they feature all sorts of things, parades, performances, and food stalls. So it really is a wonderful time to be traveling to Fiji and enjoying the culture and just the lively feeling of people gathering together to celebrate. Now, for Samoa, the Teuila Festival is in early September. And here they showcase Samoan culture, including fire knife dancing. Who doesn't like that? Canoe races and singing competitions. And in all of these islands, the music and the singing that they do is absolutely breathtaking. For Vanuatu, Fest Napuan is their big festival in October. And this is the largest music festival in Vanuatu. And here they feature local and international artists. So it's a great time to visit. So as you can see, depending on where you want to go and visit, it might be worth considering timing it with one of these festivals. Let's talk a little bit about planning and packing for your trip. It's really important when you go to these islands to pack lightweight clothing, reef-safe sunscreen to protect the coral reefs, insect repellent, especially if you're going to go inland to the jungles, and then water shoes. Always bring water shoes. It will make your feet really happy when you're walking around and even swimming. So the other thing, too, is an adapter for local power outlets because they're very different from place to place. Now, some things to be considered about for health and safety is you do want to travel with some good travel insurance. And it's always good to understand the local healthcare facilities and mosquito prevention and how to stay healthy in these islands. There are some local customs and traditions that you should also be aware of. The first is to dress modestly. When visiting villages, it's respectful to dress conservatively and avoid wearing swimwear away from the beach. And when you are in a village, for example, if you are going from a beach, just pack a perio or a wrap or a sarong. They call them different things in the different islands. But this could cover you up. And in places like Fiji, you always want to have your shoulders covered when you're going to the temples and other cultural sites. Now, the other thing, too, is to show respect for the chiefs. In Fiji and Samoa, especially in the local villages, respecting local chiefs and village elders is really important. And it's customary in these smaller villages to ask permission before entering a village. Another thing to remember is no hats indoors. In many Pacific cultures, wearing hats inside a building in the presence of a chief is really considered disrespectful, so you want to avoid doing that. A lot of these countries also do kava ceremonies, and there is some etiquette to participating in a kava ceremony. Most places that you go to, if you're on a tour, they'll explain this to you. But if you are participating in a traditional kava ceremony and you're invited to go there, it's important to clap once before drinking and 3 times after. Kava ceremonies are very traditional in places like Fiji, Vanuatu, and other places. Now, the other thing too, another custom tradition to be aware of is avoid pointing feet at people or sacred objects. In many of these island cultures, it's really considered rude to point your feet at someone or sacred objects. So you'll see lots of these cultures, they cross their legs when they sit down on the ground on their woven mats. Well, I think we've covered everything you need to plan a perfect island hopping adventure in the South Pacific, from choosing the right destinations and understanding the seasonal weather and respecting local customs. Remember to subscribe. Share this episode and visit our website for extra resources like sample itineraries and packing lists. Till the next time, we'll see you later. As our adventure through the world of travel vacations comes to an end, I hope you've been inspired to create your own dream getaways. If you've enjoyed our time together and found our recommendations helpful, I kindly ask you to share your thoughts and leave a review. Your feedback fuels our passion to continue bringing you the best vacation inspiration. Until we meet again in the realm of wanderlust, may your vacations be filled with unforgettable moments and endless joy.